Hello and welcome. My name is Tyler Stans, and this is What's Playing Tonight, the show where we pick a movie and then we talk about it. And who's we? Well, I'm Tyler Stans. I just said that. And who's the other we? I got Michael, my future brother-in-law, with me. How are you been, Michael?
I'm good. How are you, Ty?
I'm doing just fine. What have you been up to the last couple of weeks since we spoke? You've rewatched Halloween Ends how many times by this point?
Zero, as a matter of fact. I simply don't ever need to see Halloween Ends again, if I'm being totally honest. I have been, however, I rewatched all of the View Askew films by Kevin Smith because Clerks 3 just released not too long ago, I think September. Did a big thing on that on Letterboxd. Watched through Cyberpunk Edge Runners because I just like to hurt myself.
Oh,
if you haven't seen that, it's devastating.
like devastatingly bad?
Oh no, it's fantastic. It's a
okay.
fantastic short series, but boy does it hurt. But it is good. I do recommend it very much. What about you?
Oh man, what have I been up to? I've just been watching mainly scary movies. You know, it's October, try to keep the
Fair enough.
spooky
Yeah.
vibes alive. I watched that new Barbarian movie. Have you seen that?
I haven't. I've heard it's good to if you go in not knowing anything, you just go in to watch it. It's good.
That movie absolutely benefits from not knowing anything about it. I went into that movie completely blind, and then about 20 minutes in, I thought I knew what was going to happen, and then I've never been more wrong in my life about anything.
That I think that's the general like opinion of it. That's any person I've heard talk about it doesn't give anything away. They just are like, yeah, you think you know, but you don't.
But I will
You
say,
don't know.
I do recommend that movie to anyone who wants to watch a pretty good horror movie.
Interesting. I might have to give that one a shot. I know today is going to be a big Halloween movie day. I'm probably going to finish the Halloween Towns today and maybe a couple other little things.
The Disney Channel Halloween Towns.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh,
You
nice.
don't like those?
No, I mean, I'm a little bit out of the age demographic for that, but I watched Hocus Pocus 2, so I don't really, I can't say anything.
Hey, I watched Hocus Pocus 2 also.
What did you think?
I didn't hate it. I kind of liked it. It was fun.
I don't necessarily think it was good, but I had fun watching it.
Right? Yeah. That's how I feel. It was a decent enough sequel. It was fun to see all of the actresses back. It was funny to see the Roombas instead of the vacuum cleaner. That was a nice touch.
Yes, I also thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Other than that, just a little housekeeping up front. Some of the other things that I've personally been up to, you guys, listeners, might remember the former co-hosts, Raceland and Nate. They have gone. I guess it's been kind of an elephant in the room because I haven't really. If you're not in my Discord, which by the way you should be,
Yes,
join
absolutely.
the Discord. Then you don't know anything about it. But no, nothing negative really happened. They just wanted to kind of, do their own thing, and it was different from what I was wanting to do, and it's fine. And they have their own podcast, which I just was on. They did an episode on A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors. No. It's a good one, actually.
I can't remember. It must have been a long time ago since I've seen that because I don't remember it being very good. But maybe I'm thinking of a different one because there's a million of those. So.
I actually think most of the Elm Street movies are pretty solid.
I think it's just one of those I didn't get into.
That's fair enough. But yeah, if you want to go listen to me and them talk about that, you can. If you search for the Lyman Wolf podcast, I can't imagine that any other results will come up besides their show.
I don't think so. I've looked it up. It's relatively easy to find.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's a very unique name.
Other than that, we've just been doing some stuff on the old Instagram, kind of hyping the show. It's
Yes.
mostly advertising for this podcast that you're listening to, but every now and then, if it's not advertising, it's just me shit posting.
And I think you've been doing a very good job of that as of late.
I've
been getting some giggles out of it,
just poking a little bit of fun with the two franchises that we've discussed on this show, the two of us so far. And then other than that, speaking of Instagram and the Discord and other things that we've mentioned, you can find links to that on our link tree, which will be in the description. And I encourage you to click on those links, subscribe, like, all that stuff. And now that the shameless plugging is out of the way, Michael, what did we watch this week?
Well, I certainly hope that you watched Scream 1996, not Scream 2022, although I'm sure we'll get to that at some point. And Scream 1996, obviously, it is a horror slasher, although it was a little bit different than your classic slasher at the time. Everybody was kind of getting sick of, there's a killer, he, kills everybody but the virgin, and he has some kind of weird backstory, supernatural gifts, blah, blah, blah. Everybody was getting sick of that, and we had ourselves slightly more, and I hate this word, I do, but it's the correct one. It's a bit of a meta take on the slasher. Oh, I hate it.
You
I
said
hate the
meta.
Word. I don't like it. I wish I didn't have to, but Wes Craven gave us a different take, slightly more. It's almost like Hot Fuzz. Have you seen Hot Fuzz?
Unfortunately, I have not.
Okay, well, so the basic of it is it kind of pokes fun at all those classic tropes, like in Scream, they poke fun of the classic, you're not supposed to say I'll be right back, you're not supposed to do this, do that, and they turn it on its head, but also give respect to all of those classic bits.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's not quite parody as much as it is satire.
Right. It's more of a we actually do like these old things, but we do see the issues that came to be of them.
Right.
Just the basic story synopsis is a year after. I'll read just the IMDb story line here. It's a year after her mother's death. Sydney Prescott, played by Neve Campbell, and her friends started experiencing some strange phone calls. They later learned the calls were coming from a crazed serial killer in a white-faced mask and a large black robe. His phone calls usually consist of many questions, the main one being, what's your favorite scary movie? Along with other scary movie trivia, ending with bloody pieces of innocent lives scattered around the small town of Woodsboro, California.
I would say that about covers it.
That about covers the basic story synopsis.
There is one thing you forgot is that, and then I would say that Scream is a very meta movie.
Yes. Is there a quota on how many times we have to say meta throughout this? We didn't talk about that before.
Now that I know it bothers you, I'm definitely going to. There's a slightly higher chance that word will come out of my mouth now.
That's fair. It's just it was. Well, 1996. That was fun to say.
Right.
Here in 2022, it's too much.
Does anybody else think that Scream is a bit meta?
Right. Like, ugh. I am cringing.
Does somebody else think that the Matrix Resurrections is a bit meta?
I don't. But I figure we could just kind of talk through what we liked, what we disliked. Might do some fun little guessing stuff later. But what did you like about this movie? Give me a thing we can talk about.
I didn't do what I did last time and separate them, but I can tell you right now that I wouldn't have much of a dislike list.
I have a couple little things. It's mostly poking fun, but I have a couple
I
things on the
do.
side.
But as far as likes go, this is this is a movie right here.
Oh yeah,
It's a very meta movie, and it's
God.
I think I like how referential it is to the horror movies that came before it.
Right. Well, especially because it was, an early one to do that. So it wasn't quite overplayed just yet.
Oh, for sure. And not even just like in terms of like things in the movie happening that are similar to other horror movies, but like the characters themselves actually make references to real world horror films.
Right.
And they're fans of the genre, and I think that's pretty cool. As someone else who is a fan of the genre, there's a lot to like about this cast of characters. And speaking of the cat,
that's part of the mystery as well, because it's a who's the killer? Everyone's a suspect, and it's one of those things of, well, the killer calls and asks about what's your favorite scary movie, knows a lot of trivia, and you have to go, well, who else knows things about scary movies? Is it Randy, the video store clerk? Spoiler alert, no, it isn't. Or, watching it a second time, it's not quite as subtle, but that first, if you ever, the first time you see Scream, you really don't know for a fact who it is until the big reveal at the end. But yeah, I really do like this movie, especially because of the fact that the killer isn't this, there's some things like, oh wow, how did he get around so fast or whatever, but he, the killer gets kicked in the nuts, the killer gets hit with beer bottles, doesn't show any damage after, so that's kind of a bummer, but the killer makes mistakes, and it's fun to see, like, oh, it isn't just some, rampaging monster that can't be stopped. There's an element of, oh, maybe if someone really tried hard enough, they could stop this this murderer.
Oh, for sure. And any a lot of the things that like you said don't quite that are unrealistic about I guess Ghostface is the name of the official name of like the stuff like that. A lot of that can be explained by the fact that there are, spoiler alert, two killers in this movie working together and kind of helping each other set things up. And
yeah, one might be doing one thing and the other is doing the other.
Right.
It is interesting that they went with Ghostface as, like, everybody kind of latched onto that as the name of the killer because of the one line of, oh, don't kill me, Mr. Ghostface, I want to be in the sequel. But if you look at the costume, when Dewey brings it and says, oh, you can find it at every five and dime store in town, it actually says Father Death on the packaging.
It does.
I didn't notice that until just this morning watching it through. I also didn't notice that when Billy sneaks into Sydney's room, there's a slow version of Don't Fear the Reaper playing in the background.
So we are 2 for 2 on
Don't Fear the Reaper.
Don't Fear the Reaper, and also 2 for 2 on alternate versions of Don't Fear the Reaper.
Oh,
so we'll see.
Had I known that, I would have picked something else.
No. I think I'm glad you picked Scream, because it is just a, not to. I'm just gonna say it's just a great movie. No, I'm not gonna say the
Okay,
N-word.
I thought you were gonna say it. All right.
No, not yet.
You're right. Yeah.
No, it's no, but it is very meta. But no, it's just a really good movie. Just in general.
Right. And I was gonna say one of the absolute standouts of this is Matthew Lillard as
for
Stu. Sure. It's so funny, just as a kid, you watch him as Shaggy and Scooby-Doo, and then you grow up a little and you watch him in Scream and you say, oh, that's not who I expected him to be in this movie.
He was also in She's All That.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Playing like a douchey celebrity guy or something like that. I don't remember.
He was also in. You ever see that movie Without a Paddle?
No, I've never seen that one.
That's all right. You don't have to.
I've also seen He's All That, which Matthew Lillard is also in, playing a completely different character.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't even know they made a He's All That.
And I do believe Matthew Lillard is like the current voice of Shaggy also.
There was some weird. He did a lot of them, but then who did they get
okay.
in that new movie Scoob? They kind of shoehorned him a little bit.
They kind of sidelined him, but from what I understand, like the direct-to-video Scooby-Doo movies that have come out since then, as well as the cartoons, Matthew Lillard.
I think,
Shaggy.
Most of them it was him. As far as I know, I'm not that big of a Scooby.
You're not up on your Scooby lore.
I like a few of the older ones, and I really like those first two live actions, but much of the new ones I have not seen, for as I'm an adult with no children. So
fair enough. But I do think Matthew Lillard is. I think he's really good in this.
Oh yeah,
I think
most of the lines I quote are his lines.
Yeah, he's got a lot of the best lines, and he really, especially at the end, he's giving like he's giving like 110%.
He chewed the shit out of that. Yeah, he really dug deep for that last 20-30 minutes. Just a really fun performance to watch. Which he almost always is, but what are some other things you enjoyed about this one? I have a split one where it's something I liked, but also something I didn't like, and that is Henry Winkler as Principal Himbry.
Oh, you didn't like Henry Winkler?
It's funny that he's in the movie, and I like that he's there, but that he's just the weirdest principal I have ever seen.
You didn't like him slinging those scissors around?
Right, threatening to slash open his students, and also just like being really touchy on
Sydney.
On some of them. Yeah,
I saw him.
Grab her face and stuff. And I guess that's another thing to be like, well, it might be the principal, even though it's not going to be the principal.
No. Yeah, it's funny. It's really hard to watch. It's funny watching this after seeing it so many times because like the mystery is so unraveled. I don't even remember the first time I watched Scream. I don't think the first time I watched it that I quite knew who the killer was going to be.
Well, I was gonna say I remember the first. I think I watched it. It was like in 2016 or something. And I did. I mean, like I assumed it was Billy, which I was kind of right. But it got like at the end whenever Billy gets fake stabbed that first time, before he gets real stabbed later. I had no idea. I was like, oh man, I was like, who's the killer gonna be now? Like,
yeah, it's the same thing for me. I assumed as much as they tried to make it not look like Billy.
I mean,
and no disrespect to Skeet Ulrich, he is just a really suspicious looking guy in this movie.
Oh my god. Well, and another thing that I know, I was like, Sydney should have broken up with Billy well before these murders started.
Oh yeah.
He is a bad boyfriend.
He's a little pushy about that sex thing. He's like, your mom got raped and died a year ago. Well, isn't it time to get over it? Like,
yeah.
Skeet Ulrich or Billy Loomis. I'm sure it's both of them. Yeah. Also, Billy Loomis is a reference to Dr. Loomis from the Halloween franchise. I don't know if you knew that, Michael.
I think I was able to sniff that one out. Yes.
That's just a way that the movie shows how meta it is.
Oh my god.
But I just want to say Skeet Ulrich or Billy Loomis. I'm not quite sure if it's just how the character is written or if that's just how he is in real life. He talks like someone. He doesn't talk like anyone that I've ever met in real life. No. It's like, we were on our way to a PG-13 R rating.
On the way to NC-17.
On our way to NC-17. It's just like the way his cadence in his voice
Yeah.
is just
Well,
like,
and I think the way those lines were written, because it's clearly trying to show you, oh, he's also a very big, movie fan, scary movie fan. It's trying to foreshadow that yes, he is the killer, but it just comes off as who is this freak? Like,
yeah. It's,
uh,
I didn't kill anyone, Sheriff.
right, yeah. just in general, it's just the way it was all written, it didn't do him any favors.
No, I don't think his performance is bad. I just think
he
doesn't.
did a good job, but I definitely the whole time was like, oh, it's Billy.
Oh, it's absolutely
Like-
Billy. Yeah.
Like clearly he came in the window that first scene to have Sydney as his alibi if ever someone came asking about it.
Oh, for sure.
And so did Stu evidently go to Tatum's house or spend time with. I don't know if it says exactly where they were at, but they're using their respective girlfriends as their alibis.
We will we'll definitely get into who we think was doing what.
Yes,
later.
I have some notes.
I'll tell you what I like about this movie. I like Jamie Kennedy as Randy.
Oh, I
Meeks.
do. Oh my gosh, yeah, I have that written down as well. Just in general, he does a good job as well explaining the rules and
Yeah, I think it's a very fun character. I like that he works at the video store.
yeah.
It's unfortunate that apparently he's an incel, but
Well,
you can't win them
yeah.
all. Like,
No, you can't.
this is my chance with Sydney. I'm like, oh, come on.
Yeah, dude.
First of all, come
like,
on.
Yeah, there's been a little too much trauma at the moment. Give it a while before you start doing any of that nonsense.
Just simmer down a little bit.
Right. The where he's sitting on the couch watching Halloween, and saying, "Jamie, behind you." Like, I always think that's really funny because the
actor's
did
name
they
is
really
Jamie.
plan that, or was that a thing on the day where they were like, "Oh, that's really funny. His name is Jamie, and so is the actress's name in Halloween."
They probably saw that and then they were like, what would be really meta is if we have Jamie Kennedy.
I am disgusted. Okay.
Okay, but that one actually is a meta thing.
That one actually is, but oh jeez. I really like the music in this one. That score is so interesting.
By Marco Beltrami.
Yes. And it just it really it's one of those things that has been parodied. That score, and then also the one song that is in, I think, all but the fourth Scream,
Red Right Hand.
Yeah.
You see, at that point, it was too busy being in the first Hellboy movie.
There we go. Oh my gosh.
Because I'm gonna be honest. I'm pretty
that's
sure
a little on the nose, isn't it?
Well, he does have a red right hand.
Yeah, he's got a red left hand too. But
but no, I think the Scream. I guess the Scream movies, they're pretty notable for, at least the first couple are notable for having like music that was indicative of the time.
Oh yeah,
I think Creed did the soundtrack for Scream 3. Which we'll probably get to one day, but
yeah, but that would be lovely. I can't remember. I do remember hearing there was definitely some Creed in Scream 3.
Yeah,
because I did watch. I think the only one I didn't make it to was 2022.
I rewatched all of them
this time around. Well, I just ran out of time. I was and I really wanted to watch the first one again. Mm-hmm. So the time I would have spent watching 2022 was, but I would say for this, obviously none of them were necessary, but except for this first one. But I do enjoy watching these usually once a year.
Yeah.
The only one that I'm not like, yeah, that's pretty good, is the third one. So
we'll put a pin in that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Come back to that.
But yeah, I'd say the biggest flaw is with this movie is it isn't as good the second time. Like, while there is, yes, on subsequent watches you can go, ooh, I never noticed that. Like, that makes sense that oh, Billy and Stu are, doing this together, like you can start to notice like, oh, they really were pointing it out this whole time, and I was too invested to see it. Uh, but it's just never quite the same as that first time through, which almost no movie is. But
So I got
it,
yeah, I agree with you. It's just I don't I could see Scream not being as satisfying the second time because you already know what it's going to be.
right?
I do think that like as a testament to the movie, just how good the whole thing is, that I don't mind watching it again.
Oh yeah, I
Like,
mean, I watch it. Like I said, I watch it, at least once a year.
yeah,
Uh,
I think it's the movie on itself is good enough that it's okay that you know what's going to happen and who the killer is.
oh yeah, well, and like I said, you notice something different. At least one thing, like different
Oh
every time.
yes, exactly.
Like this time around, I noticed. So right before Billy is fake stabbed, they're watching. I think it must be Halloween
Yeah,
still.
it's the first Halloween.
And he says, "Why did they make the blood look like that? It's too red."
Oh,
And if you notice when Billy gets stabbed, stabbed, quote unquote, and is, turning around and looking at Sydney, that's way more red than all the other blood in the movie so far. And it turns out, oh, it was cornstarch. So
I
it's
did not
just
notice that.
yeah, I just noticed that this morning. So there's definitely things that it's like, oh, I didn't notice that the first time through. So it almost always is a fun watch, but it doesn't quite reach the levels
Of the first time.
of the first time. Granted, it's close,
Yeah.
um, but just not quite the same.
One thing I liked about this movie is especially the scene where Randy is sitting there by himself watching Halloween. You'll notice there is no background music or anything because they're actually using the music playing from Halloween
Yeah.
to kind of as a fill-in score, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah, and just in general, how that movie keeps playing in the
Right.
background, and you can hear like the whimpering and glass breaking, like at the end, whenever Sydney gets away and is messing with Stu and Billy. You can hear that, and it's like it's hard to tell, like
But
where that's coming from based on
Yeah, and I think that's very clever. And Scream is actually the second movie to use Halloween playing on a TV to for audio design in their film. Do you know what the first movie is?
I don't.
Why, of
You're
course
gonna
it's
have to tell.
of course it's Halloween 3 Season of the Witch,
Oh my gosh,
because
really?
in that movie Halloween is just a movie that exists.
That's great.
Which
I
means
love that,
it
actually.
could take place in the Scream universe for all we know.
Yeah.
No, we know it doesn't, but that's
We know it doesn't.
Yeah.
Yes. I have another where it's not really a complaint, but it's one of those things I noticed, and now I'll never stop noticing it. You're welcome, everybody. There's a lot of those Dutch angles in
yeah.
like in abundance of them. Like almost every other scene, there's one or two. And now I'll never stop noticing it, and now neither will all of you.
Now, I haven't seen like a bunch of Wes Craven movies. I mean, I've seen all the Screams that he directed, and he only
Yeah.
directed like 2 of the Nightmare movies.
I think yeah.
I don't know.
was
Is
gonna
that like
say,
something that he's known for?
I'm not sure. I know it's just one of those things in horror, or it helps. Well, it's supposed to help
Yeah.
build an uneasiness and attention, because it's like, oh, this isn't, that's not
Right.
how the camera's supposed to be.
Well, I know Sam Raimi enjoys himself a Dutch angle.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, we definitely knew that.
Yeah. So yeah, I
but-
guess he's kind of a horror mainstay, I suppose.
Yeah. And I would say the only other real things that I was like, well, this doesn't really make a lot of sense. If they're trying to pin all these murders on Sydney's father, and he's supposed to have killed her too, why do they attack her? Why do they attack her multiple times?
Sydney?
Explain that one to me. Yeah, why are they? I mean, I know they want to kill Sydney, but if they're trying to frame her father, why are they trying to get her multiple times? You know, it seems like they really wanted to explain themselves at the end there. So,
I can't answer that. I mean, so okay. I mean, I know the real reason, but we're not going to talk about the other movies, right? We're going to keep it strictly Scream 1 in this podcast as much as we can. But just going off the information presented in this movie, I guess because they're crazy.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. They corner Sydney in the kitchen, discuss their plan to kill her, and pin the murder spree on her father, whom they have taken hostage. They also reveal that they murdered her mother.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean...
Yeah, I don't really know, because they don't really say they have a motive or anything.
I guess if they would have killed her before, maybe they could have, you know, just planted the father there. But it seems like... I don't know. It seems like had they succeeded in killing Sydney prior, especially at, you know, the school, that plan kind of unravels itself. At least, you know, whenever they first try to do it at her house, she's alone. So they could have been like, they could have spun that one. But there's another funny one when she is getting chased in her house. If the phone doesn't work, how does your dial-up internet connection?
Oh.
Also, the dialing 911 on your computer, that was really funny.
Yeah,
and very dated.
I have in my notes, where is it? Sydney uses hacking skills to call cops on computer.
Yeah, like it's just so odd that they just didn't need to put that there. They could have easily just been like, oh, have her kind of cowering in the distance, maybe opening her window and shouting help, and then Ghostface is gone when she turns around. But
yeah, I'm not quite sure. Is this like a trend in the 90s where the movies had to look cutting edge?
They had to show a computer at some point.
They had to show a computer, and they had to show some sort of new technology that immediately dates the movie.
Oh yeah, I mean, oh my god,
2 years from now.
Oh,
by the way,
this won't spoil anything from Scream 2, but it's when she's in the library and it's like, oh, you got a message, you got to hit Alt M, like,
oh yeah,
just ugh.
And speaking of dating the movie, Michael, do you like how many times they say cellular phone in this movie?
Oh my god, the cellular phone or
what are you doing with the cellular phone, son?
Yeah,
I wrote down.
Everybody's got one.
Yeah.
It's like, no, they didn't, but also the amount of people without caller ID, like,
yeah,
just because like nowadays it'd be like, oh, I'm not answering that. I don't recognize that number. I'm not answering that at all.
Cellular phone,
right? Oh, there's also the Dewey is not a very good cop.
No, but all right, we want to talk about things I like. I really like the character Dewey.
Oh, I like the character.
I think Dewey has
not a good police officer.
No, not at all. He's got some of the best lines in this movie.
That's fair.
He's like,
other than Stu, he's got
the one where like they had just arrested Stu and Tatum was like, we're gonna she's staying over the night with us. He's like, does mom know?
Yeah.
and then the whole
when I'm wearing this uniform, you have to speak to me as if I'm a man of the law. Yeah,
exactly. And then when he's flirting with Gale Weathers, he's like, when he's like, do you know what constellation that is?
Yeah.
He's like, no. What is it? He's like, oh, I don't know. I was asking you.
Yeah, just an absolute goofball.
Yeah, I love Dewey. David Arquette kills it as Dewey.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, he in all of these he does a very good job.
One of my favorites.
Yeah, and it's just in general, just some of the kills were very fun. Like when Tatum is trying to crawl out the cat door, of the garage, and then the strongest garage door motor ever.
I was just gonna say I have a note about that. I could be wrong, but I don't think a garage door has enough force to do that. Is what I wrote down.
No, I mean, even if it had enough to lift her, which it probably doesn't, it definitely wouldn't have enough to break her spine or neck or whatever it does.
It was her spine. Well, I guess no. I'm not gonna back down from this. There's no way.
Oh, there's no way.
That door should have killed her like that.
No, there's no way. Like most garage door motors have a safety feature where if there's too much weight on the door, it simply won't work. It simply will not go up or down. It'll just not move. And I'm sure they had that all the way back in, 1996. We're not talking, it was when garage door motors were first invented,
Now, as far as things I don't like, first of all, one more thing I like is that when Dewey is having breakfast in the morning, he just has a plate and he's got a big old donut on that plate. These cops eat donuts. I like that.
Oh, I like his ice cream cone later on as well.
I'm pro Dewey.
Pulling a Brad Pitt and eating in half of the scenes he's in.
Yeah. So, this movie was written by Kevin Williamson. Pretty famously, he wrote, I think, the first 4. And he got a lot of praise for how he was writing teenagers. It was pretty novel at the time, and we're absolutely going to talk about how influential this movie is later.
Yeah.
But there's one conversation in this movie that I think he might have overwritten a little bit. Do you know
which one is that?
Can you guess which one I'm talking about?
Is it the one where it's oh gosh, it's just got a lot of big words in there. Where it's Billy and Sydney, and she says I'm sorry that something in her life ruined his perfect existence, and then runs away.
Okay, that's not great either. But no, it's immediately after that when she's in the bathroom and this cheerleader conversation.
The mean high school girls?
Yeah, this is way too deep for teenagers, LMAO.
Oh my God.
Where is God? I'm like, no one talks like that.
Right. Just in general, how those I wonder if maybe it was written like that, so that's part of it.
For sure.
Like, it could have been played a little bit more subtly than that. Like, where was the direction for that scene? Just be the meanest and most over the top high school cheerleader girl you can be, or like what?
Yeah, and even her friend was like, you need to dial it back.
You're pathetic.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my God. Yeah, that conversation had me rolling my eyes like, okay, someone really thought they wrote something special here. No offense, Kevin Williamson, you're great. I love you, but
But Well, and maybe we're seeing it with 21st century brains and eyes and ears. And maybe back then that would have been like, yeah, like that was the good scene right there.
Yeah.
But I don't think so. I'm sure people back then were like, yeah, that was a bit much.
So I'm just gonna rapid fire some things that I have in my notes. Wes Craven throwing shade at the Nightmare sequels by having Drew Barrymore diss them on the phone. I liked that.
No, that was wonderful.
Even though, as I said, I think the Nightmare franchise fares a lot better than some of these other long-lasting horror franchises. Some we've even talked about on this show, but that's neither here nor there. Billy's sad because he wants to fuck, and he uses MPAA ratings for metaphors.
Right. Ugh. Like, just his whole character is like, I am
movie bro, and I'm mopey, and why don't you meet my needs?
Yeah, real male manipulator energy in Billy Loomis.
Yeah, absolutely.
He would, in fact, be a very he would be a Weezer fan.
Oh my God. Live Her Alone.
Oh my God.
I like Live Her Alone.
My favorite is the hold on, I wrote it down. Oh yeah, you fucking hit me with the phone, dick. or alternatively, uh, when she's like, "What was your motive?" and he says, "Peer pressure. I'm far too sensitive."
Yeah. Oh, my parents are gonna kill me.
Yeah, my mom and dad are gonna be
He
so mad.
he
at
does
me.
he really does have like a lot of the best
best
lines.
Yeah.
Got a little woozy here.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just
really?
yeah, just
Oh my god.
yeah. They really. I wonder. Some of that's got to be him. It has to be something he was like. No, I'm gonna do this.
Oh, I can imagine.
There's no way all of that was written down. And if so, congratulations to Kevin Williamson. But
Fun fact, the first time I watched this movie, I thought Matthew Lillard was annoying.
really, I loved it. Every moment he was in, I was like, this is great.
But
He's
like,
my favorite.
over the years, I have realized the error of my ways, and now I think he might actually just be the best actor in the movie.
Oh yeah. I would say that's the same thing. He's definitely, if he's not the best, he's right up there.
Also, to give credit to, we haven't talked much about Neve Campbell. But she is,
no, she does it. Yeah, she does a great job.
Great.
I think she does better in subsequent films. She does a great job in this one, but I think she does a really good job in others, like the second one and stuff like that. I think she gets better as the series progresses. Usually,
I can agree with that.
But yeah, I would say like for having this role of and I mean she does, there's some very good scenes like when she calls the killer's bluff, walks outside, and she's like, "Oh, if you can see me, what am I doing?" And she's picking her nose like that.
Yeah.
Like she does a really good job as this character. But it's almost always that first movie. The final girl is always a little,
she kind of underplayed.
Yeah, I mean that's all of them though. Like any horror movie, the girl that survives is usually going to be a little, which is a problem. I mean, I'm not
she
saying
hasn't quite. I don't know. I don't know that it's so much a problem in this case because it's more like as you watch these movies, you do really get to see Sydney develop.
Oh yeah, like she definitely develops throughout the films versus
so not as
becoming
much
a fully developed character in
by
one
the end
film.
of the first movie. Yeah,
right. And like like I said, it's not the worst one.
Oh,
there's
no.
definitely ones that are worse than written worse than Sydney, but it's definitely a little. It's written a little two-dimensionally, but it's she's the survivor, and that was about it.
And I do think
for this one,
if you'll forgive me, I do think she's pretty badass at the end of the movie.
Oh yeah, I don't know why she put the costume on.
No, but I like that.
But she shined. She really shined those. Like I mean, that whole last 45 minutes to an hour is really good. It really hooks you in. It doesn't even feel that long. It feels like 30 minutes.
Scream has a top tier finale as far as horror movies go.
Oh yeah, I mean it's one of those where the beginning scene is really good, the middle is serviceable and fun to watch, and then the ending is ridiculous, like really good.
Yeah. You know why she put that costume on? Because it's vindictive and it's what I would have done.
Right.
And I love
that's that. Fair. Yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't have been wasting the time. No, I do like how she called.
Yes.
I really and used the voice changer to start, and
the fact that she turns the tables on them and kind of frightens them a little bit.
I mean, you saw Billy's reaction. He was freaking out.
Yeah, I like how she was able to get a reaction out of them. I really enjoyed that.
Oh yeah, especially what she got out of Stu.
We also have not talked too much about Courtney Cox. We've talked a little bit, but fun fact, Courtney Cox had never played a bitch before, she said. And she had to work really hard to get this role by learning
I
how to be a
guess.
bitch.
I think
That's
I don't
from
know.
her mouth.
I have a good feeling, and if I'm wrong, then that's fine. But I have a feeling Courtney Cox probably had enough experience being a bitch before she played this role.
Um, maybe, but she wasn't. Okay, so she had pretty
Oh,
much
no, I
only
mean-
done Friends at this point.
Yeah,
So she wasn't perceived as such.
Yeah,
And a lot of the
which, yeah,
times
that's-
typecasting is an absolute, like, it's absolutely a thing. Like, if you're known
Oh,
for playing
yeah.
one thing, you won't get the other thing. But I just think it's
Yeah, I
funny
mean-
that she's like, no, I had to really work hard to show that I can be a bitch.
yeah. I think we saw enough of that on Friends. I don't know what she's talking about.
I haven't watched much Friends because I just don't enjoy it. But
Oh, it's one of those things you catch it at 3 a.m.
yeah,
while you woke up for no reason. You watch an episode, you go back to sleep. But yeah, and not like I'm super against Courtney Cox.
no, I'm not anti Courtney
Yeah.
Cox at all. I don't.
we could have done without Gale Weathers.
No,
in my
no, I like her. I like her interactions with Dewey.
yeah, that's fair. The
Even if I don't quite buy the fact that she's into him, I still
yeah,
like it.
there's in all reality. I mean, I guess it's the fact that the characters are so different that draws them together, I suppose. But
What do we think of Tatum?
I think that was done perfectly well, actually.
I think so too, actually. I think she plays that character really well.
It plays it exactly how you would have expected it to be played.
I kind of like that she is like Sydney's hype lady.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
right after she punches Gale.
Yeah. Yeah, what is it? Sydney super bitch. Like
Yeah, exactly. And I think she
I don't think she needed to die, at least not like that.
No, and it's weird that she's Dewey's sister and like there's no like emotional consequence for him, and well, we'll get to that when we talk about
other
it's just interesting. I'll put a pin in that. But yeah, I don't think she needed to die either. But you know, we gotta have a body count. Like,
yeah, I was gonna say I think there's only, if you count Sydney's mother, there's her, Casey, Steve, the principal, Tatum, and Kenny. So 6.
yeah,
Which is not low, but it's not a big one either.
yeah. I guess the final thing I'll say about Tatum is that I believed her and Sydney's friendship.
Oh, I did too. They definitely did that really well.
And then as far as I guess that just leaves Drew Barrymore as far as like main players who is probably the most famous person in this movie
at the time.
And they pulled a Psycho
maybe still
with her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they sent her out to just die. I don't think audiences expected that at the time.
No, they didn't at all. And they're actually I got a fun fact about that. She really wanted to do this movie after reading the script, and she actually requested the character of Casey, knowing full well
she was going to die in the first scene. And
they were actually nervous about killing her off because of how like she was the biggest name in the movie at the time. But you know, they still got to use Drew Barrymore, and they still got to. I think, first of all, she's great in this movie.
Oh yeah, she does a fantastic job.
And her death, I would say, I would say it's pretty memorable as far as.
Oh yeah! Oh my gosh! It's
horror deaths.
That last shot of her dangling from the tree with her guts all hanging out, like
and like
haunt your dreams. You know,
just the whole sequence. I mean, it's iconic at this point.
Yeah.
The whole
the
first phone call,
the Jiffy Pop.
Yeah, So
I mean, yeah, and you know, it's been parodied, especially in the first Scary Movie.
Yeah.
when the instead of in Scream where it starts to burn, you see the smoke, like it's adding to the tension, whatever. It just becomes bigger and bigger,
which is hilarious. And we'll talk
oh
about
yeah,
Scary Movie in just a moment.
God, that whole oh gosh, yeah, that. But yeah, she did it. She did a good job, and I think what that did for the film is, oh wow, like nobody's if this actress playing this part isn't safe, then nobody's safe. It adds that it might just be, anybody's going to die at any moment.
Oh, for sure, it's highly effective.
Oh yeah,
and yeah, she kills it. It's iconic. Oh man, and it's just a great scene.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot one more. We were forgetting Fred the janitor.
Oh, who played by Wes Craven himself.
Yeah. This is a fun. No,
that's and then he's Fred.
I think that's kind of meta, don't you?
Stop it, please. You're killing me.
Oh my gosh! I tell you what, I didn't notice. Excuse me. Is that Liev Schreiber is in this movie?
Oh yeah, he's they establish him as Cotton in this in like some news footage.
Yeah,
or something.
He's just in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he is, because I mean they clearly had a sequel planned because it came out the next year.
Oh, for sure.
Like. Well, so actually, they obviously got Liev Schreiber, because they knew he was going to play a slightly bigger role in the next film.
Yeah, it's funny. They the sequel wasn't planned, and I guess we can get on to that. We can. All right, so let's talk about Scream for a minute.
Oh yeah.
So this movie came out in December 18th, 1996. Had a wide release on the 20th.
Right.
So, horror movie releasing in Christmas season in 1996. Now, as you established, awesome. As you established when you were talking about this, horror was kind of in flux at this point.
Yeah,
and even more so, slashers were really, really on the downturn.
Yeah,
like at this point, Freddy has been killed off. Jason has gone to hell. And so those two series were quote unquote dead at that point.
Yeah.
Michael Myers, Curse of Michael Myers had come out the year before and was just a colossal critical failure. Like the slasher genre was very stale at this time. So this is coming out at a point where no one wants to see a slasher. Horror is kind of on the downturn. And this movie comes out in December with its budget of $14 million, and it makes $173 million at the box office.
I didn't know it was that big of a jump. Good Lord.
And it's currently sitting at 80% on Rotten Tomatoes.
And a 7.4 on the IMDb, which is high.
And it has over 114,000 5-star reviews on Letterboxd.
Oh my gosh.
So
that's a large amount of people.
So they didn't know that this was going to blow up.
Yeah.
To the point where Williamson had sequels like in the bank, but he had no idea that they thought that like he was actually going to be able to write them and get them made. This Scream 2 was actually greenlit and sent into production while Scream was still in theaters.
Oh, okay.
So like after they saw that like the money was pouring in,
yeah,
they're like,
it's
okay,
more of a half-baked plan.
Yeah, it's like, all right, this is making a lot of money. We gotta get this out.
It was not like it's not like stuff today where it's like, oh yeah, we're already contractually obligated to make a trilogy. It was I could, like, if we wanted to, I have stuff that I could push out, but we don't have to do that.
No.
And then they so decided, like, oh yeah, if it's doing this good, we gotta at least make a second one.
We gotta get another one out.
Yeah. And I do like that second one. I'll say that right now.
Yeah, we like most of them.
True, yeah.
The ones we don't like, we kind of like, but
yeah. That's the thing with horror movies, though. It's especially the franchises. Like most people, if they say, "Oh yeah, I'm a fan of this franchise," even the ones that aren't very good, they still like them to a degree.
Yeah. I
Because
got
yeah, I can. Yeah.
I got so the budget was part of my fun facts. I have some more fun facts if you would like to hear them.
Yes. Go ahead. Rattle them off.
Scream was originally not going to be titled Scream. Do you know what the original title they wanted to call it was?
Scary movie.
Scary Movie.
Which they went on to make a
Yeah.
the Wayans brothers made a parody
They
of
did.
just those 90s horror. So it was that. I think I Know What You Did Last Summer
Yes.
and a couple other ones, stuff like that.
Which, by the way, if they had called it Scary Movie, I think that also would have been a great title.
Oh yeah. I think either one worked. I wouldn't say I prefer either one. I mean, Scream is good. I think it's a little bit more. What's the word? It's a little easier to be like, oh, do you want to watch the Scream movies?
Yeah,
instead of being like,
the
oh, do you want to
scary
watch the
movies.
scary movies?
Yeah, I
Like-
guess I suppose you're right about that. Yeah, there's yeah, I want to watch a scary movie. Which one? Yeah.
Right. Oh, the first one. What are you talking about?
So as for more fun facts, Wes Craven. Sorry, Wes. I didn't mean to. Sadly, not with us anymore. Actually,
friend of the show.
Friend of the show, Wes Craven, who passed away years ago. Wes Craven was originally hesitant to do another horror movie, but then he did it anyway. I don't really have anything else about that. But David Arquette was actually originally considered for Billy Loomis.
Oh, I'm kind of glad. Well, no, that might have been a pretty sweet performance.
But he specifically himself requested the character of Dewey. So
Okay.
we have David Arquette's Dewey because David Arquette wanted to be the deputy.
That is fair. Well, and I mean, good for him. I mean, he ended up living this one.
And this next fun fact will kind of segue us into talking about a character we haven't talked about. Roger L. Jackson was originally just going to be a stand-in for the Ghostface voice, but they liked him so much they kept him.
Oh,
and he's come back for all the sequels. And honestly, they made the right choice because that voice is great.
Oh yeah, like it's incredibly recognizable. Just in general, yeah, like it's one of those things of that voice anytime you hear it.
Yeah, and I think he gives it a lot of range because when he's first talking to Drew Barrymore and something, he doesn't necessarily sound creepy at first. It's not until he starts
it's just
getting creepy.
Yeah, until he says, "I want to see what your insides look like."
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Or I just want to know who I'm looking at.
Right. Oh yeah. Like it really it takes its time getting to the creepy, but then it really goes in on it. So
yeah. So that's it for fun facts. I think you wanted to talk about who we thought killed who.
Oh yeah. So obviously there's 6 killings, and it's not always easy to be like, oh yeah, that was Stu, or oh that was Billy, or oh that might have been both of them. I mean, they do go right out and say, we killed Maureen,
right?
Sydney's mother. I do think probably though that was mostly Billy.
I think so too.
Like, I think Billy probably did the actual murdering.
Actually, I think Stu did a couple of them, but I don't. It almost feels to me, in my headcanon, it seems like Stu came to the project later.
Right. It seems. Yeah. They say, "Oh, we killed Maureen," but I really do think that was Billy. I also have the knowledge of subsequent films.
Right. Of course.
But I still think, even just based off this one, I would have been like, no, I think Billy did that. He seems more into it than Stu does. I think it was peer pressure,
there's we can talk about this real quick. There's a fun fan theory that Stu might have had feelings for Billy Loomis.
Oh, I can. Yeah, I mean, I think I've seen something along those lines, and they play on that in Scary Movie, the parody. Uh, but it makes sense. There's lots of times where it's like, okay, you can definitely see. It may not be like an attraction in in a certain sense, but there was definitely something Stu found fascinating about Billy and the psychopath
Yeah,
ness.
but I
uh,
I've seen that come up a couple different places where they're like, I think maybe Stu, it might have been a little bit more than peer pressure. There might have been some sort of mm, attraction there.
attraction, yeah,
Yeah,
which would make total sense. I
yeah.
mean, I think I bet if you asked if you asked Matt Lillard, I bet he would be like, no, I definitely put some of that in there.
That maybe,
Uh,
yeah.
I think he, and again, they don't, especially 1996 might not have been the safest place
Yeah.
to show any obviously like things were changing and stuff like that, but you still didn't see a lot of uh like homosexual attraction and stuff like that in movies, especially
Yeah.
in those late 90s. You'd see some, but uh
It wasn't quite commonplace yet. It was still a
right.
little of the
Right. So they
time,
had to
yeah.
hint at it without saying it outright.
Right.
I think if they had done something more outright, it would have been even better. But
Yeah,
uh,
I think it's a fun reading that you can have of the movie. I don't necessarily know if it's correct, but I could see it if you kind of, squint your eyes at it enough.
right. No, I'm willing to believe it.
Yeah.
I mean, uh,
But then as far as who killed who?
so now we're doing Casey and Steve. They were both there that same night. I think it's either uh Billy did that all himself, or he was simply on the phone while Stu was running amok.
I
And
think I'm thinking that Billy did it all himself.
okay, explain that to me.
I
Let
will
me
explain
see
it
the
to you.
gears turning.
So the next day we find out that Stu was like with Tatum all night, as that's what she
Right.
says.
Well, but
Whereas
yeah, I was saying
we see, so we don't know when Stu got to Tatum's house, but we know that after Casey dies, Billy drops by.
and sneaks into Sydney's window.
Yeah,
Yes.
so I think I feel like this was a Billy Loomis solo
Solo,
effort.
which it
Yeah,
could be. I mean, the argument could be made uh, that it was Billy all by himself. I do still think I have this. I don't know, just something in my mind that says that one specifically had to be the both of them together.
yeah, I could see it.
Well, because just the amount of phone call and whatnot, and having to push Steve, into the right position
Oh,
and
that's true. Yeah, it probably was a
throwing all
joint
that
effort.
stuff. Uh,
I tell you what though, I do think it was Billy in the costume, uh, stabbing Casey.
oh, oh, it had to have been the way. Yeah, that was far too sadistic
Yes.
to have not. I think yeah, I think they worked together because they clearly both have their own costume. Because
Yes.
um,
Well, you can go to the Five and Dime and get it.
right, exactly. So
Yeah.
like, why would they not have multiples?
Right.
Uh, and then who was next? Was it Principal Himbry?
Who
Because
does
it goes a
die
while. It goes
next?
a while without any actual killings. Because
He was
there's the
murdered.
attacks of, um, they attack Sydney, but they don't actually kill her. So I think the next one was the principal. And
Yes.
personally, I believe that one was Stu.
Yeah, I think so because yeah, I think you're right about that. I don't know
Because
why.
because he sends the Tatum and Sydney to go get food for his party,
Right.
and then walks the opposite direction, and then the next thing you see is the principal being attacked.
Yes.
Uh, and I really do think because uh, the way that he's hung up on the flagpoles or the field goal post.
Yeah.
It seems like because then it just seems like that would be more of a Stu murder.
I feel like Stu would kill. I just I feel like Stu is more likely to kill the school principal because he seems more like a fuck school kind of guy.
Yeah,
like,
if Billy's gonna kill people, like I'm gonna kill some random folks.
I'm gonna kill the principal.
Right, yeah, he's like, I'm just gonna kill my principal. Yeah.
Fun fact about that whole scene is that they put in the principal death because the Weinsteins wanted more killing in this movie.
Oh my gosh.
Actual horror villains, the Weinsteins, wanted more killings in this movie.
Genuine horror villains in real life. And it's another little fun fact is Henry Winkler asked to be uncredited because he thought he would draw attention from the lesser known actors in the cast.
He was on Happy Days, right?
And the fact that you say it like that is exactly the point of why you could have been credited. It wouldn't have affected anything, sir.
No, I think when Courtney Cox from Friends is on your show, which was a huge show in the 90s.
At that time, yeah.
I don't think I guess his heart was in the right place.
Right, yeah. I think it's just one of those things of, he's trying to do the right thing, but maybe just did it in the wrong way.
Right.
And then I believe next to be murdered is Tatum, and that was clearly Billy.
Yes, I agree with you. Had to have
been Billy. Why he decided to kill Tatum, I don't know. I guess because if they're trying to get Sydney alone, trying to get people out of the house, she wouldn't leave without her. So I guess we got to kill Tatum too.
So it's funny. I mean, it has to be Billy because, like, just of the way the movie logic works, Stu
is at the party. Yeah,
Stu is at the party. But the way Ghostface acts in that scene, where he's kind of like joking around with her, that's very Stu.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the point. You're really not supposed to know, this is who killed who, really.
Right.
Because I don't think it's ever written anywhere, or at least not that they've ever said, this is who killed who, and here's why.
Yeah.
But if you're looking at it just purely from a logical stance, it had to be Billy.
So the next, Billy gets stabbed, and I think that's Stu that stabs him.
I don't know. I mean, no, clearly that had to be.
The rest of the movie is pretty much all Stu.
Yes, Kenny, the camera operator.
Yeah, pour one out for Kenny.
Oh God, yeah, yet another just
spends the whole movie
innocent man
getting shit on by Gale Weathers, and then he gets killed.
Oh, just in the worst way too. Throat slit, thrown on top of your own news van, and then being at your already dead corpse, just being flung off the top of said news van.
Yeah.
Yeah. Truly someone who did not deserve it.
No, poor Kenny.
Yeah. Gosh. And talk about the marksmanship on some of these people. Why do they keep shooting everybody in their right shoulder?
Yeah. Well,
because when Randy is shot at point blank range, mind you, he is shot in his right shoulder, which, yes, can very much cut through arteries and kill you, but couple of inches the other direction, right? Boom, right in the heart, Dunzo. But I guess they needed him to survive so he could make his "I've never been so happy to be a virgin" joke.
That is true. Yes,
they had to do that one. And then also it's even funnier whenever Gale comes back from being thrown onto Dewey and comes back and grabs the gun and then shoots Billy. She shoots him in the right shoulder.
Yeah.
But then he gets shot in the head. So I think he's all done.
Well, we had to have him rise
Oh yeah, he had to jump up for one last scare.
Yeah.
And she says, "Not in my movie," but like he still did it. Like,
Yeah.
it could be one thing if they, if he was like, "Oh, they got to jump up," and then she shot him, and like that's your jump scare,
Right.
The jump scare should have been she just pulls the gun out, bam, not him jumping up. But I mean, either way, it works. It's just that line after is a little silly. Like,
not in my
it did happen in your movie. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, not your house.
No, it's Stu's house.
It's Stu's house. Yeah,
It's a nice house though.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It's got the stained glass and all of those houses in that movie are very nice.
Did you notice, Michael, that on the TV they were watching Halloween on, there was a copy of Clerks?
I did notice that.
I wondered if you would.
I when I watched it earlier this week, I said, "Oh, look at that."
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. A VHS copy of, gosh, I wonder how much one of those goes for.
A VHS copy of Clerks?
Of Clerks. Probably not a whole lot, but I bet a good $40-$50.
Yeah, maybe. I don't really know.
It's a VHS of a movie that came, and that is, very, very popular.
I don't know.
Now, if it was a VHS of, Mallrats, I'm sure that one goes for pennies on the dollar, but...
Oh, maybe. I don't really know what the market for VHS movies is.
Yeah. Well, you'd be surprised. I mean, there are collectors out there. There's a collector for anything and everything, so it's worth a lot to somebody,
I know a guy that has laser discs.
I don't know if that's cool or not. I'm sorry to whoever that is, but...
I won't name any names.
I can't tell if, I mean, in my head, I'm like, no, that is kind of neat, but like, do they have a player? Can they watch the laser discs?
I think so.
Oh, well then, okay. Well then that changes things. Then yeah, that's pretty neat.
Yeah, I don't think they're not like me with my vinyls that came with my Halloween Blu-ray collection that I can't play because I don't have a record player.
You can go buy one of those at Walmart for like $40.
Yeah, or I could just load up Spotify and listen to that music.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's all about ambience.
I'm gonna piss off all of the vinyl guys listening.
Yeah,
to this
well, and I did too by saying you could just get one for $40 at Walmart.
Oh yeah, you're right.
I probably made them more mad than you did.
Yeah, they're gonna be way more mad at you than me.
Yeah.
So, Scream.
Yes.
Pretty popular movie. Boy, there sure were a lot of Scream clones.
Oh my gosh.
You already mentioned one of them. I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yep. Which I kind of like. I Know What You Did Last Summer, but that's neither.
I've only seen the first one. I thought it was fine.
Oh, I've only ever seen the first one too. I really didn't want to watch a sequel to that one.
Scream was so influential that even our own Halloween franchise, H2O, which came out after that, was very Scream.
Very Scream, yeah. That's an excellent point.
I think Marco Beltrami even did some music for Halloween H2O.
No.
Actually, if I remember correctly, they used music from Scream in that movie.
That's no way.
Which Scream is not necessarily guiltless when it comes to using.
I mean, yeah,
we'll talk about that more when we get to the sequels, but
yeah, oof.
But yeah, a lot of clones.
Yes,
not
very much
necessarily interesting to talk about, but what is interesting to talk about is just how influential Scream is to the genre at large, and not even that. I was talking with my girlfriend about this, and I do think that Scream not only did it revitalize horror, but I really think that the way that like the teens are written and portrayed, I think that has also had severe lasting effects on all sorts of media. Like I to the point where I don't even think like you'd have something like Riverdale today if it weren't for Scream.
We have to go back.
We have to.
We gotta stop. We gotta stop this movie from being made.
Like I know that like the CW sucks, but it is like a lot of stuff on CW is
Well, hey,
copying the Scream formula.
they only suck after about 3 seasons.
Oh, but yeah, well, fair enough. Some would say they've always
Uh,
sucked, but
I mean, like I said, I like those first couple seasons of some of those shows. I've also just been in general being like, I could really get into some late 90s, early 2000s teen dramas.
yeah.
Like, am I going to watch One Tree Hill? Probably. Am I going to watch Gilmore Girls? Probably. Am I going to love it? Probably.
I mean, there's even stuff that like even in like horror movies, obviously too, but like stuff like Happy Death Day has a lot of Scream
Oh,
DNA
yeah.
in it.
Oh, yeah.
The one
Which
the people that
I
direct,
really like Happy Death
yeah, I
Day,
really liked it too, actually. But the people that directed the new Scream directed what was that movie called? Ready or Not?
I think
That was the
so.
one. That one has a lot of Scream in it. Just like
Yeah.
just a
Yeah,
lot.
Ready or Not. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah,
I was saying, I think some of them. I think one of the directors did a segment for VHS as well, and
oh yeah, okay.
yeah.
But it's just like
So yeah.
oh yeah, Bride of Chucky has some Scream in it with the whole satire thing. Like,
Yeah. It's just like once it's like Pandora's box. Like once it was opened, everything was coming out. Like once they started being like, oh, we can be self-referential, we can be, we can make fun of ourselves, but also be serious. There were lots of things that said, oh, let's do that too. That made lots of money. Let's do that. And some of them did it fine, and others made either too much of themselves or took it too seriously and only threw in a couple things, and it made it, not as good as Scream did it best. But
right. Well, Screamisms are still around to this day, but there was definitely, especially in the late '90s, early 2000s, that was like the high tide of Scream clones and Scream's influence. And then it got replaced by like Saw and the torture porn and Paranormal Activity, which is stupid because
then we got the found footage stuff,
which was around since Blair Witch, but that's okay. But yeah.
Well, yeah, it had I think really the only good found footage is Blair Witch.
Cloverfield
in the horror genre, but Chronicle is Chronicle, well, so is Cloverfield. Yeah, I mean there are other ones, but if you go specifically horror, like really the only good one is Blair Witch. I think the only reason that was so good is evidently they had like a VHS tape of it that people passed around. Like, hey, you got to see this. Like,
there's a lot of viral marketing for like websites and stuff.
Yeah,
stuff that they would repeat with Cloverfield later. Like
the whole thing, if you reverse the ending, it's
just a bunch of fun stuff.
You always got to bring the audience into the movie. I mean, a recent example is the Batman, where you could solve the Riddler's ciphers and stuff like that.
I thought I had something else to say about Scream, but maybe I don't.
Well, I guess we could go into what you would rate it.
Oh.
Or would you like me to rate it first?
I'll tell you what, before we do that, we had some comments in our Discord.
Oh, yes. Can't forget the comments. That's why you're the front runner,
the showrunner.
Yeah.
We do welcome all comments. If you want to comment, you can down in the comment section on YouTube or by emailing us at what'splayingtonight@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Twitter @tonightplaying. There's also a link to the Discord down in the description in our link tree, along with all the other things that I plugged at the beginning of the episode. That link tree basically has it all. We'd love to hear from you. Like we heard from Mario in our Discord. He said, "Scream good." And then
I forgot about that. That's funny.
This is not Gibbs' opinion in our Discord, but he shared. Oh, this is where I saw it. He shared a Letterboxd review of Scream that had 3.5 stars from someone named Ted. It said, "Sometimes a man murders every woman in his life because his true soulmate is a man."
That's a very accurate description.
And then this has probably been my favorite thing to happen since we announced we were doing Scream. Former What's Playing Tonight member, Lime Knight, Raceland, has been watching all of these movies. And it all started with a 4-star review, which I saw that he has changed to 5.
Oh wow.
He said, so this is my first time seeing this movie, and I gotta say, I quite enjoyed it. It was full of corny jump scares and predictable scenarios, but that was the charm of the movie. It felt like it knew what it was and wasn't trying to take itself too seriously. Plus, I had a fun time piecing together who the killer was. 5 stars.
Wow.
Now,
I didn't know it had jumped. I knew it was 4. I didn't know it had jumped up.
Now, Raceland, famously not a horror fan, not a
Not at
slasher
all.
fan. He has since watched all of these movies, given all of them positive reviews, and Scream is now his favorite horror franchise.
That's amazing.
I-
I'm glad we turned one person.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite thing to happen out of this whole thing that we've done.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's
At least in between this episode and the last one.
yeah, that's
Yeah. And other than that, no, we don't have any more comments on that. So yeah, if you want to, I'll tell you what, I'll give my rating first.
okay.
Since it's your movie, and then you can you'll do it after. And I'm gonna go ahead and give Scream. Now I rated it a couple weeks ago when I rewatched it because I didn't know this is what you were gonna pick.
Right, yeah.
But I'm gonna change that on Letterboxd. I originally gave it a 4.5. And I think I am gonna bump it up to 5 stars because not only is this just an entertaining movie to watch that I can watch over and over again, I mean, when you take into account how influential this movie is and how many things have tried to copy it and fail, I just
Right.
think that Scream is just like, I think that it's probably the more, of all the horror movies that Wes Craven has directed, and he's directed a lot of them, I think Scream is probably the most important one. And I think Kevin Williamson has a lot to do with that, as well as the cast. Scream is a 5-star movie, and it created The Assignment. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
That spoiler alert, since I did pick this and obviously I've been able to show I do really love this, I would also give Scream 5 stars. I don't give that out a lot. In fact, most of this podcasting that we've been doing here today, I've been like, oh no, it's a 4.5. It's a 4.5. Because if you look at my Letterboxd bio, I have kind of what ratings mean to me. 4.5 is a favorite, and 5 usually is like a best of all time. Like I don't really give that out to much. But in my personal opinion, this is my favorite, what I would consider the best horror film, or at the very least we can even just say slasher, but truly my favorite slasher, horror, whatever. And I will also give it 5 stars.
I mean, it's hard not to.
Yeah.
When you look at everything around it and just how good it is on its own, I mean, yeah, you could take away all the things that it inspired and all that stuff, and at the end of the day, it is still a really good slasher movie.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like it no matter what, it's like I really don't see anybody being able to give it anything less than a 3.5. And if anybody did, all power to them, but
and then when you just when you add in just how important it has been to not just horror, but I would make a strong argument for pop culture as well.
Right. Well, I mean, in other movies, Ghostface pops up. Other characters from other movies have popped up in Scream movies. Like it's just one of those. Yeah, it really just it's so crazy to think that it influenced so much, and took influence from so much as well. Just a really good movie in general, not even just a good slasher.
I think that about says it all.
Yeah, I think so too.
Which means we have Oh no, what did I do with my little prompt? That's okay.
Oh no.
I remember it. We've reached the end of the show, which means it's time to pick our next movie. Each episode, one of us is at the mercy of the other. Since Michael picked Scream, that means it's my turn. I see. I used to have that written down, but I think I just recited it word for word.
I think you got it. If you I was gonna say it sounds pretty word for word to me, so
Yeah,
you might have that ingrained.
If I hadn't told on myself, no one would have even realized.
I wouldn't have known.
So.
You could have fooled even me. Like,
but it is my turn now. I thought I texted you about this earlier.
yes,
We did 2 scary movies for October. I thought maybe we could do some sort of theme for November. And then I was like, well, what would that be? The scenes that have movies that have dinner scenes,
turkey,
movies that are about movies that we're thankful for. And then I thought to myself, you know what? I'm overthinking it. I'm just gonna pick whatever I want, and it's kind of random. But next time on What's Playing Tonight, we will be talking about The Hunt for Red October.
Oh man.
So yeah.
It has been a minute. I'm excited.
It's been a minute. You can find it on Netflix. And
okay.
I made sure I looked at a couple things on Netflix, and it does tell you when the last day to watch is October 31st. It looks like it's going to be on there for a while. So, but I would I advise you listeners to, if you want to watch it, get to Netflix and watch it ASAP, because you never know when those things are going to be removed.
That's very true. Although I own it, so it's not going anywhere for me. So.
Yeah, and I would also just rent it if
I think I have all of those Jack Ryan films with the various actors. So
yeah, I don't know. I was in the mood to watch a submarine movie, so that's what we're gonna do.
That is A-okay with me.
We're leaving October, but we're not leaving Red October, if you know what I mean.
Oh my god.
That has been What's Playing Tonight. Michael, do you have any last words for our audience?
Just that I think you cut me too deep, man. I think I'm dying here.
Oh, man. You better go to the hospital.
Oh my god.
That was, for you to reference the movie that we were just talking about in this podcast, that was a little meta, don't you say? Wouldn't you say? And that's been the show, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.